Hey, what's up, guys? It's two of the three movie fellas, and we talked about doing this last week, and this is going to be our breakdown of the Infinity Wars trailer, which we both know we are super stoked for. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is going to be um, probably somewhere between 20 to 30 minutes. It kind of just depends on how we
And if
how we
it's
feel about
longer,
it.
deal with it.
It's not going to be that long.
It's not going to be that long.
It's gonna be 20 to 30 minutes.
Rest assured, lovely listeners.
Expect one of my normal-esque reviews that get pretty lengthy. That Blade Runner one, that was 25 minutes. That
It's
was
got
really
more
fun.
views than
I
any other
enjoyed
one,
it.
I think.
Yeah, it's because I'm the freaking best out of the three of us.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Whatever. Sure.
All right, so let's talk about Infinity War. It's going to be insane.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of freaky. All right, first things first. Let's talk about the just the setup we've had until this point.
Can I just say something real quick? I'm down
No.
here in the corner, guys. Whoever's listening to this, we tried to make the screen bigger. We couldn't do it. It is mind-boggling what Marvel has done with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It really is. It's absolutely insane because Infinity War will be the 19th movie, and they have kept continuity. They've kept most of their actors. They've kept the movies. I mean, even the worst movies aren't train wrecks. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the buildup has been amazing, and they've done such a good job with it. No, they're not all perfect, but what they've accomplished is it's crazy. It really is.
Well, something to add to that, they've managed to make this many movies, at least in terms of Iron Man forward, where sure, like you said, the movies haven't, some of them haven't been like great or outstanding, but
Right.
I've never found myself bored during a
Yeah.
Marvel movie,
Yeah.
which is crazy. There
Mm-hmm.
were there have been, I feel like the longer it's gone on, there have been a couple that kind of hit me the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
I know I said before Guardians of the Galaxy 2 wasn't my favorite,
Mm-hmm.
just because I felt like some parts of it just felt so rushed and crazy that
Yeah.
it felt wrong to me. All right, well, let's go back to where the Infinity War itself all culminated. Let's look at the first Avengers movie,
Mm-hmm.
um, where we see Thanos for the first time at the very end during the credits scene, and obviously Loki making his first appearance in the terms of being the big bad leader of an army, which ever since then we've been beaten over the head with big armies.
Looks like we'll be having another army
Yeah,
too.
round
We talked
round
about
three
that in the
incoming.
podcast. Yeah, it was the first time we saw him, and honestly, that was before. I loved superhero movies all growing up,
Mhm.
but I didn't know enough at that point. That was 5, 6 years ago almost. So when I saw him, I'm like, is that Hellboy?
It's a blue Hellboy.
Who
I
is
can
that?
see how people
I didn't know
confuse
they
that.
weren't in the same Marvel. They weren't in the same universe.
Yeah,
So I didn't know who it was, but people who I knew who knew comic books, knew that was Thanos, and that something was happening. And then
yeah,
everyone expected when Age of Ultron came out, they're like, why isn't it something to do with Thanos? And Kevin Feige, president of Marvel, he's like, it was never meant to be that. This is something we're gonna build,
mhm,
and that's amazing that they've built it over this amount of time.
yep. Well, that also the first Avengers movie also leads us to one of the biggest points of Thanos, and that is the stones for the Infinity Gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
We see the first one, which is the Tesseract.
Which is the Space Stone.
Yep.
They're called the
But
gems in the comics.
yeah, but here's something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel has kind of changed around in terms of the what the stones are. Um, the
Yeah.
colors are kind of different here
The
and there,
colors are different. Yeah.
but they're all still the same colors, but their powers are different,
Right.
just variations here and there.
Right.
And we see in the first movie we're introduced to the Tesseract,
Mm-hmm.
which is, as you said, the Space Stone,
Mm-hmm.
which is used for like galactic travel,
Right.
that kind of stuff, which we assume is how Thanos opens that portal in
Mm-hmm.
Infinity War trailer, which
Mm-hmm.
he walks through and makes it to Earth for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine.
Yeah. So are we talking stones? Is that where we're going?
Yeah, we're going into
Okay.
the stones now.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So no, you're good. So Loki uses the Space Stone to travel to Earth, and that's how he gets to Earth in the first Avengers. So
Hmm.
he uses that. That is the first one we see. Little do we know that Loki's scepter, we later figure out in Age of Ultron, is also a stone, and that is the Mind Stone that is now in Vision's head. So,
Yep.
you want to go from there? There's a couple. There's 3 more so
Yeah,
far.
yeah. Okay, so the other ones we've got are the Mind Stone, which is in Doctor Strange's amulet.
That's the Time Stone.
That's the Time Stone?
The Mind
Wow.
Stone is the one I just mentioned.
Oh yeah, man,
Time Stone, yeah.
I'm getting so thrown off.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, we see the Time Stone
That's in
that's a
his
Doctor
necklace.
Strange
Yeah.
necklace, which he uses to go in the
Back
time
around.
space continuum and absolutely wreck Dormammu, which was great. That was probably one of the best things I've ever seen.
That was really cool. Yeah.
That was one of the most clever ways to defeat a
That
villain
was a
ever.
really interesting way of beating a villain. I really thought, yeah.
Which is something I don't think a superhero movie's ever really done.
Yeah, it's just whack them real hard until they die. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, then we've got the Power Stone, which is from the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which they used to defeat Ronan.
Yep.
And then we've got the what's the Aether?
Aether is from Thor: The Dark World, and that was
that's the Reality Stone.
Yeah, that's the Reality Stone. Yeah, because it bent the realities to the different.
Now,
kind of the
Reality Stone, other than its defensive properties, is the one we don't really know a whole heck of a lot about.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well, it's funny because Thor: The Dark World is when it gets explained what the Infinity Stones are in the movies. You know, like it explains it more later.
We get the collector's explanation at one
Yeah,
point.
we get the collector's explanation, but we also Thor: The Dark World, which it's not a very good movie. I mean, it's fine. It's one of the serviceable ones, you know.
Yeah.
But you
It's
hear
the
Odin talk
mid-tier.
about. You hear Odin talk about, hey, this is, the universe was split into 6 realities, and like the other ones are stones, and you see all the stones. You're like, oh, they're finally kind of talking about it, you know.
Yeah.
So, but the Aether is introduced in Thor: The Dark World, and that's the reality one, and that is Thanos currently has that one.
Yep. Well, he doesn't have
not
it
Thanos.
yet.
No. The Collector
has it.
Because at the post-credit scene at the end of Thor.
Yeah, he's like 1 down, 5 to go.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because we don't know if that means he's collecting them for Thanos or if that's just him wanting the stones.
Well, there was this is a spoiler because there was released footage, and it is it's not finished footage because it's Josh Brolin in a mocap suit, but he's in a motion capture suit and he's got his foot on top of the Collector, and the Guardians of the Galaxy are like walking towards them, and he's like, "Give me the stone, I need." He's like, "I don't have it, I sold it," So if he did collect them for him originally, then
it was just
decided
to make
kind of how to
that
change it
stack.
apart. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting though because in the comic books, which I'm going to refer to a bit here and there, he's actually the original owner of the Power Stone.
Right, because he's a master of the universe, or celestial,
Yeah. All right, and then after that, we've got one we don't know about, but let's face it, it's probably
if he lives on Nowhere, which is the severed head of a celestial, does that mean he's living in his brother's head?
Technically, yeah. Yeah, in a roundabout way.
Boom! Bet you didn't think of that one, Kevin Feige. All right, keep going.
All right, and then we got the last one, which, as I was saying, let's face it, will be probably introduced in Black Panther.
Yeah. It's not confirmed, but it's almost like there's a big battle around Wakanda,
which just screams, "Oh hey, by the way, we're defending a stone."
What people are thinking. So did we went through them all, right? Space, time, mind, power, reality. Yeah. And so the last one would be the Soul Gem, which traditionally Adam Warlock actually lives in because there's a world in it. Well, there's a scene from the Black Panther trailer, and in the Black Panther kind of mythos, when a Black Panther dies, it goes on to live in this field, Serengeti kind of place that the Black Panther.
So they go to live in the Lion King.
Yeah, exactly. And and so Mufasa comes up and he's like, "I am your father," and then he's
like, "That's the Badlands, and we never go there."
We never go there.
And he tells Donald Glover that
he tells Donald Glover to get who played Matthew Broderick was the one who voiced him originally. Anyway, so there's a scene from the trailer where it's kind of this ethereal kind of place, and there are panthers in this tree. I think that that's Soul World. I think that that's the Soul Gem. They have the Soul Gem in Wakanda. That's like their big treasure, their big thing.
Mhm.
And so in
Well, just to kind of talk about Wakanda for a hot second, is that
yeah,
safe to assume why Wakanda is like this, like paramount, the real El Dorado, I think is this referred
right.
to?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Of all the technology, of all the stones that you would think that like technology would spur out of, though, you think maybe like reality or the space stone. The Soul Gem isn't
Or
really
the
what you would
Power
think.
Stone?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But that might be. Well, they also do have. They say there's just a really highly intelligent population there, and they also have the vibranium, which makes them very rich. It's the most rare element or whatever.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's where most people are assuming. I thought it was going to be in Thor Ragnarok, and I thought it was going to be in Heimdall's chest because he can see all the souls in the universe. So I thought, and it still
That'd
could
be kind of
be,
cool.
but probably not. So,
Yeah.
so that's all six. All six make the Infinity Stones that powers the Infinity Gauntlet, which we've seen 100 times now. You know,
And it's
um,
mostly just Thanos putting it on.
yeah,
That's really it.
exactly. That's all we've really seen of it. We originally saw one in Thor in their the Asgard collection,
But then
and
we
it was
learn later that
realized it
it's a
was fake.
fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So
a nice little tie around by uh
Hylia.
Ragnarok. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
So
that's
you
let's
want
well, since you mentioned her, let's get into Helya real quick.
to? Mm-hmm.
Helya is believed to be the lover of Thanos since she is the embodiment of death. Um, that's kind of his obsession that he gains, at least in the comic books.
Right. He's
And
obsessed. He's in love with death, and so he does whatever she wants him to. Yeah.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
And to prove that in the comic books, he literally wipes out
Half
his
of the
entire
universe.
his entire race for one.
Right.
Which actually he's considered to be kind of a an outcast from because it's the purple skin. He doesn't look the same as everybody else, so he turns.
Right.
It's the old
Right.
comic trope of you look different, so
So
therefore
we're
you're
gonna treat you
bad.
terribly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but actually his family itself didn't treat him poorly. It's
Right.
just the entire rest of his race did,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
which he's a Titan, obviously,
Yeah.
which I think they've hinted at a couple times. So Helya is assumed to make a comeback in this movie.
Really?
I would
She's
love
not
to
on the
see.
guest. She's not on the list or on the IMDb, but she might. I mean, she might show up.
Well,
Um,
we do remember seeing that the line where he first shows up at the end of Avengers, where
it's to
he's like,
yeah,
to face them is to court
court
death, and
death,
he's just
and he
like, oh my
smiles.
gosh,
Yeah,
yeah, he's like,
I love death.
I am so into this right now,
Yeah,
in a million naughty ways. So yeah,
yeah,
that's all I'm going to say about that.
yeah.
So
So you want to get into the trailer itself now?
yeah, let's go through the trailer real quick. I've got
Okay,
a couple
cool,
more things to add after.
cool. All right, so it opens up and it starts with a quote, which I went back and I watched the original trailer, and it's not very good. The first Avengers trailer from 2012, it's not very good. Like it's like I remember it distinctly. Like before I rewatched it, it starts out with Loki saying, "You were made to be ruled," and then it Fury is saying there was an idea to bring together a group of extraordinary people, so when the battles came that we couldn't fight, they would fight them for us or whatever. And so this trailer starts out with a planet seemingly destroyed, kind of. It's dark and it's like sepia tone almost, and it's Samuel L. Jackson. It's Nick Fury saying that, and then it cuts to Iron Man saying that,
Yeah,
and
it
he's
goes through a couple different of them
yeah,
all saying that, and ends
yeah.
with Thor.
It ends
I
with
think.
Black Widow. Yeah, Thor's second to last. Yeah.
Uh,
Um, while
Man, I
she's
just watched this
talking.
trailer like 6 times.
Yeah, and so then it goes to kind of Tony Stark, and he looks like he's on a battlefield, and he's like mourning over someone. And then it goes to Thor standing in like a spaceship. Then it goes to Black Widow seeing the Hulk on Earth in his human form, and then it cuts to the Hulk being in the Sanctum Sanctorum, Doctor Strange's place, with Doctor Strange and Wong looking over. Which is funny because this is kind of based more off the Infinity Gauntlet, kind of a mixture of Infinity Lead build up or whatever it's called. It's when he's collecting them in Infinity Gauntlet, which is when they actually fight him.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like the Silver Surfer is the one who crashes into Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, And it's like the Hulk does the same exact thing in this one.
Yeah,
So,
it's kind of a nod to that.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But because freaking Fox sucks and won't give up their rights to the movies they
Well,
keep
they're
ruining.
about to make a deal. Did you see that?
Oh no,
It
I
just
know
came
there was
out that
talks again.
it just came out that they're closing in on a deal to acquire the Fox properties, and that as soon as next week they could make an official announcement. Yeah, check that out.
Huh,
So
I'm gonna have to check.
from
Yeah,
from that
I'm on my way.
point, you hear Thanos' voice, and what do you think of Josh Brolin's Thanos voice?
He's terrifying.
He's terrifying. He's absolutely horrifying. Yeah, I think it sounds awesome. There's obviously a little bit of voice modulation. They make it a bit deeper, but
Yeah, he's a bit more
it
grisly.
fits very well.
I think the one most thing that's terrifying about him is, I know we talked about it last week, but he looked terrifying in when we first saw him with the hat.
Yeah.
But now that he's bald,
He looks like
it's
he
just
looks like an
scarier.
a purple angry Bruce Willis from Die Hard. Like, like a bald one. Like, like that's kind of, he looks just horrifying. And like we won't run through the whole trailer. We'll just kind of talk about standout points.
Yep.
When it there are a couple main standout points. When he walks through that portal and you see him, people are like, well, it's not exactly the design like before. Well, it's mostly the same design. His skin tone's a little different. It's also
He's a
he's
little
not in outer
lighter.
space too. Yeah, he's more of a
Yeah.
dull purpley. It looks more like a
Yeah.
skin, he looks amazing. Like, it looks great. It looks horrifying too,
Well, I think it's also the fact that from what we've seen of it, which mostly all we've seen is him walking and punching Tony Stark,
right.
the way he
Is that
carries
Tony Stark?
himself,
Could be someone else in the Iron
he's
Man suit.
punching the Iron Man suit. Deal with it.
Could be someone
We're
else.
going with this Tony Stark.
All right, keep going.
Just the way that we've seen him move, like when he walks through the portal, just the way he carries himself, how like straight he stands, how
Right.
like I'm here to take names and chew bubblegum
Yeah.
and I'm all out of gum kind of situation.
Yeah.
I was going to use the actual Duke Nukem, but that's not it's not YouTube friendly these days.
Well, what he
But-
says. Go ahead.
Well, if you're getting ready to go into what he says, I didn't remember what he said, so go ahead.
Well, what he says is he's like, fun isn't what someone considers while balancing the universe. Fun isn't what someone considers when balancing. But this, I can't help but this putting a smile on my face, and that kind of sounds cheesy. But the way he says it,
It's terrifying.
It's like he thinks that this is what he's supposed to do, and like no one thinks they're the bad guy, and I'd love to see kind of that more depth to Thanos. Having like not only is he in love and he's doing this for a girl, he's also
Love makes you do some crazy things.
Yeah, he's also doing this because he thinks this is right and this is what he's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so are you saying that he's essentially Space Hitler?
He's Space Hitler. He really is. He really is. Oh,
Except
man.
Hitler didn't do it for love. Hitler did it because Hitler was crazy.
Hitler is terrible. You know what they should do? They should CGI a mustache onto him to go against the
Just
Henry
that
Cavill. Oh man, yeah. So
Someone's seen that yet.
we get a little bit of Spider-Man fighting Thanos in the Iron Spider suit scene at the end of Spider-Man: Homecoming. We get a bit of, let's see what else. I've watched the trailer.
The Iron Spider suit, which was interesting.
Yeah, you don't like it?
Okay.
Didn't look anything like the comic Iron Spider suit.
Well, it's weird. Today, CinemaSins actually released their Everything Wrong with Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Uh-huh.
And they brought up a really valid point. This Spider-Man isn't really the Spider-Man we're used to. It's Iron Man, Spider-Man, with the suit and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's essentially him, Peter Parker, in a Iron Man suit.
An Iron Man suit. Yeah, it kind of is. I don't love that kind of aspect to it. I wonder if the Iron Spider suit will be any different. It'll probably be more, but it's not the cinematic Spider-Man we're used to, because the Iron Spider suit plays pretty. Sorry, I'm popping a lot. Plays pretty prominently in the comic books. So especially in Civil War. Like Tony Stark shuts down his suit, you know.
Yep.
So it's not the cinematic one. You're right. So we get a bit of him fighting. What happens? What happens next? What's next? We
I
get a little
think
bit
we
of
cut to,
Hulkbuster.
yeah, we see
Yep.
the hand of Hulkbuster behind
Well, we see the whole suit briefly.
oh yeah, and then we
He
see
jumps
just
down. Yeah.
the hand just kind of chilling on the ground next to Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to a lot of Wakanda. It's really more of just seeing how the fight's going to kind of go down.
What do you think is going to happen?
I kind of want to wait a second to get into how I think it's going to go down, because I've got some points to add, or a point to add before we get to that, which is kind of story driven, if that makes any sense.
Okay. So after that, we get a little bit of Black Order. We get Captain America coming out. He's got a beard. He's looking real crazy. We got a little bit of Bucky. We get a little bit of Black Panther, and then we get a big shot of the battle. We have Falcon and
army
Black
fights.
Panther. Yeah, this crazy weird army. But we get Black Panther and Captain America kind of all rushing into this battle. And then it cuts out, and then at the end, it's Thor. Like, who are you guys? And it's the Guardians of the Galaxy. So.
Okay. On that note, real quick, since you mentioned the part with the Guardians, that when it first showed them, I was like, "That's not Chris Pratt." That looked
really
in the right away. That looked nothing like Chris Pratt to me. That to me looked like
mustache.
That to me looked like the dude from the first Thor movie that was in his little band of Ravagers. Yeah, the trickster looking dude, the Three Musketeers looking guy.
Yeah, the Robin Hood guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was like, wait, that's not Chris Pratt. Yeah, they did a good job
at
being sneaky.
Some people are suggesting that they CGI'd that mustache on as a slight towards DC to show like, hey, this is
why are we running with mustache? The next thing for the internet is mustache gate, and that's all it's going to be.
If it's true, that's hilarious. Like, if it is true, that is so funny.
I'm so over mustaches in the hole.
I love it.
All right. Well, getting on to the next point, since you mentioned them in the little explanation of the trailer you just saw, let's talk about the Black Order real quick. We know they're confirmed because they did that little statue reveal. I want those statues. Oh my gosh, they
look so cool.
Freaking money. They're probably worth so much freaking money, though it's not even funny. All right, we do get a look at one of them in the actual trailer, and it's believed to be Proxima Midnight.
Yeah.
Yep, throwing her spear at Captain America, which the fact that he catches that is...
He's used to catching things, man. He'll catch things left and right.
Yeah, but a spear coming from one of the most intergalactic powerful beings like ever. Yeah. That's insane. All right, so let's break down a quick power. Okay, in the comic books, these are not Thanos' actual children. They are just his generals from across the galaxy. Marvel is pushing the idea that these are his actual children.
Like adopted children.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Like Gamora and...
Karen Gillan.
Yeah,
Nebula.
Nebula, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, so what we know about Proxima is she's the most deadly in terms of fighting ability. Okay. Actually, no, that's not true. She is essentially their kind of like ranged person, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Right.
She's got pretty much, all the children of Thanos or the Black Order are essentially some of the most like immortal beings in the galaxy next to Thanos. They all have invulnerability, human speed, or superhuman speed, endurance, all that kind of stuff. But she's going to be probably one of the ones that does probably some of the most, considering the fact she's one of the most well-known.
Right. You think she'll be like the main secondary villain that maybe Captain America fights or something?
Yeah.
While everyone else is taking on Thanos?
However, the three other generals we're getting, because we're only getting 4 of the 5, because they cut out Supergiant, who's like a space vampire, which is kind of interesting. I'm kind of sad they're not going with that, because it's a really cool concept, and she's kind of terrifying.
Right.
Let's go into the one we see parts of, but we don't see the whole of. We have Corvus Glaive,
Mm-hmm.
who is the second-hand man of Thanos, his most trusted advisor, literally probably the strongest of the three,
Okay.
because like his name entails, glaive. He's got like a long staff with obviously spears at both ends.
Right. Right.
As long as that thing is intact, he is immortal.
Oh wow. Okay.
So they're gonna have to do something to break that and kill him. I get the feeling we're gonna get the death of at least one or two of the children of Thanos in this first one.
Yeah, I'd say at
Probably,
least.
probably some of the weaker ones, but
Right.
I digress. Um, the one thing we do see of Corvus Glaive is I believe he is the one that is helping extract the um, stone from Vision. I think that's his spear. We see like
Right. Right.
ripping
Right.
the ripping the stone out in
Mm-hmm.
that scene, which that's going to be such a sad scene to watch. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the tactical genius of the Black Order. His name's Ebony Maw.
Mm-hmm.
He's considered actually the most dangerous of all of
Okay.
them, all things considered, and that's just because he is the brains of the organization. Um, he is essentially the version of Iron Man, not in
Okay.
terms of equipping them all, but he's the mind of it all.
Okay.
Not really a whole lot I could find about him. Apparently, he's got those like persuasion powers. He can really just like convince anyone to do his bidding,
Mm-hmm.
kind of. And
Okay.
obviously, superhuman intelligence, all that kind of fun jazz.
Okay.
And now
Cool.
we get the one that we'll probably see the death of. I can almost guarantee. Black Dwarf, which is the really big, muscly one.
Right. Right. Right.
There's not really a whole lot about him,
Okay.
because they've kind of changed. Like I said, they've changed around how the Black Order is going to work, and he is essentially their version of the Hulk.
Okay.
Um, his skin's unbreakable. He has superhuman strength, and obviously that comes with density. Um, he's actually killed in the comics by Ronin, so
Okay.
that's one thing we're getting different straight out,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously Ronin was one of them, and he's
Dead.
been disposed of. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which after reading it, I'm like, man, that kind of sucks. He could have had a way better death than what he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking as far as Black Order goes is it's maybe Thanos and Corvus Glaive, and they're seeking out a few of the like the Mind Stone and the Time Stone and stuff like that. And then he's like, "Yo, the rest of the Black Order, you guys go to here, lead this
Mhm.
army. We're gonna get this other Infinity Stone." And that's kind of the two fronts that they might be working on. You
Well,
know?
interesting that you mentioned that. In the comics, at least in the Earth 616 universe, which
Mm-hmm.
is where obviously the children of Thanos come from,
Yeah.
when Thanos does target Earth as the planet he's going to attack and destroy next, he actually sends Black Dwarf to Wakanda. So
Okay. Okay.
that could be that could
Cool.
definitely be where they're going. Like I
Cool.
said, I'm kind of really ticked that we're not getting all five, but
Right.
it's probably just for timing's sake.
There's so much going on in this movie. There are so many
Well,
characters.
here's how I think it's going to go down. It's kind of going to go down at least how like the past couple have gone down. You're going to have all these minions and stuff that are cannon fodder for all our little side characters and less powerful
Less strong
Avengers.
ones, you know. Yeah. Hmm.
Got to have something for Hawkeye and Black Widow to shoot at with their guns
Yeah.
and
Well,
bows.
even Captain America, you know, he can go toe to toe with some strong people, and I bet there's going to be a punch off with him and Thanos. But you know, Thanos is wrecking Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's way stronger than Captain America. So, you know,
Well, I wouldn't. I don't necessarily know if we know that
in
this.
this, in the in the comics he is, but in this universe, I'd say he's maybe a little stronger. You know, maybe equally powered, but
Yeah, without a doubt. I think what we're gonna do is we're probably gonna get the. Um, I don't know. How do you? Oh, there we go. How do you think this is gonna start out? How are
I
we gonna
think it's going to
get from
be
point A to point B?
all right. I'll give mine, and then you can give yours, and we'll kind of close this out because we're at 30 right now.
Oh,
I think it's going to be starts off um, the ship from Thor Ragnarok. Thanos goes onto their ship. He starts killing people left and right. He gets Thor captured or something, and he has like a gun to his head or hand on the face, like about to crush his head. and he's like, I'm gonna kill him. Give me the freaking space stone. And so Loki, who stole it at the end, which is confirmed from the trailer, he has it. He's like, all right, take it, because Loki's essentially a good guy at this point. So that's how he's gonna get the space stone. Now, then he's gonna throw Thor into Earth, and he might kill Loki. He's gonna throw Thor into space, and he's gonna throw Hulk into space. I don't think he will, mostly because Loki has a pretty big face on the poster. That's the main reason. So then Hulk's gonna get thrown to Earth. Thor's gonna be in space. Hulk gets thrown to Earth. He is discovered by Benedict Cumberbatch and Wong.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
Tony Stark gets called over because he sees that he's falling into orbit, whatever, Tony Stark has a lot of things going on. And so he goes and sees where he's fallen. Then Thor crashes into the Guardians of the Galaxy. He meets up with the Guardians of the Galaxy. All the while on Earth, Thanos comes through the portal, brings his own portal to be able to bring his whole army through. They're fighting Thanos on one front. Captain America, like Iron Man and Spider-Man, and then Captain America, and they're fighting the Black Order and the army on one front, and then in space, Thor is helping the Guardians
get to Earth.
Not only get to Earth, but maybe get the Time Stone or the Power Stone or Reality Stone from the Collector, and then eventually they all come together, and Thor and the Guardians meet up with the people on Earth. That's how I think it's going to go down.
And that's an interesting point that you brought up, the whole two fronts kind of thing.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple different fronts. I think it's going to have to be. And I think that if someone dies, if numerous people die, they're going to be real smart with it, because they can bring anyone back with the Time Stone, but they're going to have to create rules, because you can just bring anyone back, if you don't, so I think that Iron Man will die in this one or the next one.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And I think it will be a full circle for the character becoming, yeah. Anyway, go ahead. What do you have to say? That's my take.
I'm kind of on the same page as you. I hadn't thought of it being two different wars on two different fronts. Obviously, since Bucky's and Freeze in Wakanda, I don't know why I just remember that out of nowhere. But obviously,
new arm.
Yeah, that too. And obviously him loading guns as always, since guns are like his fetish, apparently.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of the whole war on two fronts. I didn't think about the fact that Thanos is going to be attacking New York, which sucks to be freaking New York.
Again, yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So, yeah, it will kind of be... kind of throw a hark into the comic books. It's going to be... not necessarily East Coast and West Coast Avengers, but it's going to be here's one group, here's another, and they're kind of doing their thing. So, yeah, it's going to be Captain America and Winter Soldier and the Wakandans all fighting on, obviously, Wakanda. And then you've got everyone over in New York kind of fighting Thanos and trying to hold him off. I feel like that will kind of be... Actually, one way they could do it, if they were smart, is having the Black Order that are in Wakanda secure what they need from Wakanda, which is obviously going to be an Infinity Stone.
Right.
And they're like, oh, hey, by the way, Master, Dad, we've got the stone, pull us through. And that's what that big circular thing is.
Oh, yeah, it could be. Yeah, that's true.
Because we see Thor hooked up to something that he's shocking at some point.
Yeah.
I think to a degree, we could see a point in the movie where Thanos kind of uses him as a battery. Okay. Which I think would be kind of cool. It's kind of a little grim, but I mean, it would be a good use of his power.
Yeah. That's true.
And then I kind of feel like we're going to get the whole, since it's a 2-part movie, there's going to have to be like a cut end.
Well, it's separate now. It's not part 1 and part 2, but I think it's definitely going to be like a direct sequel,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we get to, because I don't think that Thanos is going to be wrapped up in part 1.
No, it won't be. He's already confirmed for the next one, so.
Okay. Yeah. So it is pretty much part 1 and part 2, but they're going to be very different, pretty much. Yeah. I get the feeling this is going to be kind of an all-out war, and then the second movie is going to kind of be the
We
Do you
gotta
remember
fix
in
everything and rework.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you remember in Lord of the Rings when they're given a vision of what the world would look like if Sauron won,
Right.
with
Yeah.
Hobbiton on fire and they're all kind of like enslaved and stuff? I get the feeling that's kind of what we're gonna get
Okay.
in the second
Okay.
one, and it's gonna kind of be kind of like a Planet of the Apes uprising,
Have
fighting
to get
back
the
kind of thing.
stones back and kind of fix how everything was supposed to be. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, one quick more thing before I do,
Mm.
since we can get out of here and stop talking about this because we can go on forever.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think about Groot in terms of the Avengers, because Groot in the comic books was designed for the sole purpose of defeating Thanos. He's essentially a nuclear weapon.
You mean not Groot.
Groot is.
Really? I thought
Yeah,
Groot was just from a plant. I thought Drax the Destroyer was designed. Yeah, because Drax the Destroyer was a man on Earth. Actually, he was murdered. His family was murdered by Thanos, and then someone built a body to create Drax. So Groot was also designed to do that.
I believe that's what I
Okay,
understood.
okay, okay. Because I know Drax was created. Now they've changed the origin for all of it. You know, so
Yeah, without a doubt.
yeah,
So yeah, that's pretty much how I
cool,
think it's gonna go. Pretty cut
cool,
and dry.
awesome. All right. Well, either way, we'll figure out in May 2018.
Oh, it's too far away, and we're also 10 days away from Star
Star
Wars.
Wars.
So
Yeah,
get
yeah. We'll
get
definitely have to do a
stoked.
review of that. Maybe we could do like a joint one or something.
I'd be down.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Check out Movie Fellas podcast. December's episode will be favorite Christmas movies. Should be coming out here in a couple of weeks. Peace out.
Yep. Bye, everybody. Peace.
Bye.